Craig, let's talk a little bit about mandatory data breach notification laws. What do you think the actual impact of these laws is going to be for Australian business?
Well, I think the experience I've had over the past couple of months talking to Australian companies about their readiness for it is the first impact we're going to have is that we now have legislation that encourages businesses to have better cybersecurity practices because of the data that's entrusted to them. What I'm also seeing in conversation with companies is they've had to learn very quickly what that looks like. So I think the impacts are going to be, first of all, there'll be an initial impact as people then absorb their changes they need to make in their organisations to protect the data that's entrusted to them. But I actually think it's going to be more of an opportunity for the Australian market as well. We're a country that thrives on trust and relationships, so the more that businesses can see this as an opportunity to optimise their relationships with their customers, but more importantly, take that data protection very seriously and perhaps look for new opportunities.
What do you think is going to change now that we have this new legislation in place?
Well, look, the most obvious change now is the implementation of the notifiable aspect of it as well. Now, you can have conversations around comparing that legislation to other jurisdictions, but the fact is this is the law that we have here now, and I think it's a good first start to get us used to this thing. The change I will see happening is when the first couple of notifiable data breaches coming out. At the moment, for many organisations, I don't think they quite understand the ramifications of these breaches. So we've seen the stories around the world of the breaches with a whole range of organisations, from Equifax through to large health organisations, and here in Australia we go, that's terrible. We haven't been aware of those incidents occurring here in Australia, other than such organisations a few years ago where the Red Cross Blood Bank had an issue, and other ones that we kind of hear about. So I think that'll force Australian businesses to take this accountability very seriously, and we'll use this as an opportunity to help businesses institute better overall cybersecurity plans, not just we need to tick the box for the notifiable data breach legislation. This is a huge opportunity, and they should be taking advantage of it. The challenge will be for organisations who are in the first round of notifiable breaches, and there's like everything, there's two ways that could go. It could be come out of okay if you've done all your pre-planning, because you can't defend against everything. But if an organisation was to have a notifiable breach and they hadn't done any of the pre-work, I think it's going to be a very tough time for the members of that company from the board down, explaining to not only the Privacy Commissioner, but also their clientele why they didn't take it seriously and why they're in the situation they're in right now.
Do you think Australian businesses are ready for an incident? Do you think they're prepared for an incident? And what steps should they take in order to make themselves ready?
Well, I'm going to admit, I think there's an increasing understanding of the importance of readiness, but we're still having those, in some cases, the 101 conversation. You know, we've practiced so many other things. We all work in buildings where we love a good fire drill. You know, we're sitting here high on a tower in Sydney. I'm very hopeful there's no fire drill today, because there'll be a lot of stairs for us to go down. But for many organisations, when you start looking at these plans, at the opportunities and the challenges you're facing, you have to take that step back and really look at your business resilience plan, your disaster recovery plan, whatever you call it, and you've got to get serious about it. You have to plan for these things to occur, because they're going to. And then you also have to actually test and do them. Because if you can't test and do them, when the time comes, you will not survive. Right? Many organisations, particularly small businesses, the data shows us that if they have a substantial breach, they are unlikely to stay in business because of the impact that it causes to the business. No organisation is going to have the answers for these in-house. You need to work with your peers, you need to work with your trusted partners, be it companies like Aon, to help you look at it subjectively from outside the organisation, to look at it in a way that ensures that you've got someone else asking you the question of, have you thought of X?
So Craig, to wrap up, please let us know what you consider to be the three key things that Australian businesses should be doing right now.
All right, so three key things. Obviously, can I add a fourth? Look at Australian solutions for your problems. But number one, get the identity and how you manage staff in and out of your organisation organised. Know who's got access to your systems. Number two, get the housekeeping stuff done right. get the patching done, get the systems up to date, all those 101 housekeeping problems, you've just got to get them solved. But number 3, I think, is actually the most important. Change your culture around how you approach cybersecurity and make it part of the way you run your business. It's the way that companies are going to be successful, particularly with increased demands on digital services.
Just to sum up, thank you ever so much, Craig, for coming into Aon today. Fabulous insights into the cyber ecosystem of Australia, and in particular perspectives around how organisations can really prepare themselves. On behalf of Aon, I'd like to thank you for spending the time with us today. Thank you.
Thanks for coming in. Look, I'd like to acknowledge Aon's support of the Australian cybersecurity industry and the input that the team has had on what we're trying to achieve here in Australia. We can do it with great international firms like Aon, and I think it's an important way to continue the conversation here in Australia.
Thank you.